Cryoburn by Lois McMaster Bujold is a Vorkosigan saga novel. It is the second last in the series so far, maybe. But this one is about Miles. He is drugged. He's escaped. He doesn't have any shoes, and he's wandering catacombs on a planet we've never been to before called Kibou-daini, which is kind of based off Japan. So he's sort of lost. He gets found by an orphan kid who keeps animals, and he basically has to find out, you know, where he is, what happened to him, and we slowly get sort of the information dump of what happened, how he got into the situation, why he's there on the planet in the first place, and the intergalactic adventure that happens while he's there. This is a rather short book. It's only 330 pages, but I couldn't find this one audio, so I had to read the book and ship that away over the course of a week. This isn't the best Vorkosigan saga novel. It's very placeholder. I mean, Miles is in it, and you know, stuff happens, but mostly the more intriguing stuff is the sort of world building of this new planet he's on, that he's investigating, because they're trying to do a scam on the Barayaran Empire, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. But on Kibou-daini, they basically have a cryogenics sort of fetish thing where everyone tries to freeze themselves so they can, you know, wake up, and then while they're frozen, someone else has their best interests, and they have a voting share for companies. So it's almost like a giant sort of economy based off just frozen people that just are there, you know, either they're sick, or they're waiting for a cure, or they're just waiting for their funds to, or they just want to, you know, skip time for a good 50 years. I don't know the reason, but a lot of people want to freeze, and it's very commonplace here, so it's like a thing. And that was intriguing because it's like a new planet we've never been to before, based off Japanese culture. That was cool, but the new characters aren't very interesting. You know, you get a couple of favorites in there. So overall, this Vorkosigan novel is only okay. I just read it because, you know, I'm trying to finish them all. So I give Cryoburn a 3 out of 5. Gentleman Jole and the Red Queen is a novel by Lois McMaster Bujold. It is the latest Vorkosigan novel. I don't know if there'll be any more, but this one is the latest one, the last one so far. It is described as a story for adults. It's not a war story. It's about Oliver Jole. He is an admiral for Barayar. He's on Surgyar, and 3 years after the events of Cryoburn, Cordelia and him begin a courtship, and it's ferociously boring. This book doesn't really have a conflict or anything. It's basically just Cordelia. She's 78 or something, 76. She's in her 70s, and she wants to have some female children, some daughters. So Miles will have some sisters. So she's using her genetic material and his stuff to make new children, and therefore they do that, and people find out. And she's the viceroy of Surgyar. Yeah, there's not much going on in this book. I think that probably the biggest thing that disappointed me is that they mentioned stuff about Aral, retroactively making him a bit of a scumbag, changing what he's like, and I did not like that. It almost feels like a character assassination after the fact. It's like finding out Dumbledore was gay this whole time, but he also was into younger men and women. It just comes out of nowhere, and honestly this novel really didn't have a point. It's very similar to The Flowers of Vashnoi. This might be a terrible thing to say, but I don't think this novel is worth reading. It is not very strong. It doesn't have a conflict. It is mostly about Oliver Jole and Cordelia doing things. Miles shows up, and it's just, it doesn't really have a flow. It doesn't have a theme. It's just people talking, dating, having more children. It's a very boring novel. It doesn't have much of a point. There's no world building except for a game, a 3-sided kind of like lacrosse match, and you get to see more of Miles's children, I guess. But yeah, this book is just, you can just read Cryoburn and stop. You don't have to. If you want to remember the series as it was and not as it is, hot take, don't read this book. Give it a 1 out of 5.